guys, and welcome back to my nodal series. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be discussing the north node within the sign of Taurus, meaning that you automatically have your south node in the sign of Scorpio. Now I made the north node in the sign of Scorpio, south node in Taurus video, but with this one we're going the opposite way. Now just a couple of things before we do get into this. If you would like to know more information all about the nodes within astrology, then please be sure to check out my introduction video. And I would also like you to keep in mind that the nodes are strongly connected with karma and past lives. And for the purpose of this series, I will be addressing them as so. And I'm also going to be speaking rather directly with these placements, explaining these placements rather directly. But please do not take everything I say as absolute truth or set in stone. And if you do not believe in past lives, just try to look at your south node as your younger years and your north node as you grow older. But if you are interested in karma, then check out the video I made as well, if you like. Okay, north node in Taurus, let's do this. Let's start by then looking at your south node in Scorpio. So where are you coming from? Now the first thing to be aware of, north node in Taurus, is that in a past life, you often find yourself bounded up in an intense, intimate, inseparable relationship with people who were influential, people who held a position of power. You might have been the courtesan behind the king, behind the person who ruled. Now for those of you who don't know what a courtesan is, that's a woman who holds a relatively high social position due to having experienced past sexual relationships with rich or important men in exchange for the money. But still, if you're not a woman, you might have been the counselor to the chief, the prime assistant to the president. Basically, you were the confidant. So what I'm trying to say here is that you fed all of your energy and power to your powerful soul mate. And what that person gave to you in return was validation. It was appreciation. It was acknowledging your worth. Keeping in mind that Taurus is all about worth and value, and Scorpio is about the intimate exchange of energy between two people. So because of this, you now might have the tendency of singing your praises in this life. In fact, during your interactions with others, you use that other person as a type of diving board so that you can spring back all focus towards your past victories. You might tell others the stories of when you were most successful and inform them of all of your power moments. Now, whilst naturally there is not anything wrong with doing this, it's just that you do it ceaselessly. You do it endlessly. But the underlying subconscious reason for it is that you are seeking validation. You might be speaking with someone, and due to your insecurities, you focus all the attention on yourself because you want so badly for others to see your worth, to see your value. But even if others do acknowledge these things about you, it's simply not good enough in your eyes because really, you feel inadequate. And if we take a closer look, what we see here is that you're judging yourself. You are comparing yourself. And of course you are, right? Of course you are. After all, in a past life, another person provided you with the validation, saying, yes, North Node in Taurus, good job. I appreciate you, North Node in Taurus. And you might also fear that you are not respected enough, as you might think that all you do is give in this life and that no one ever gives back to you what you feel you need. But what you gotta realize is that this is never ending. You seem to never get enough from others no matter what they do. And so it's about understanding that you need to stop looking at others to provide your self-worth and start by looking inside yourself. North Node in Taurus. In a past life, You were provided for because it was this other person in power who fed you, who clothed you, pampered you from head to toe. In exchange for these things, you helped fulfill the desires of the other person. Now, naturally, due to these reasons, you didn't really have a grounded understanding as to how money operates. Plus, your success was dependent on not having your own boundaries. And due to you not having boundaries, you were able to merge with another person's energy field in ways that generated more power that either you or the other person could have done separately. So, you grew to develop a sensitivity to other people's needs in a past life, which, whilst sure, this strategy worked well for you during that time, but what this did was it caused you to lose sense of your own needs and values as a separate being. I mean, how can one establish themselves in this human experience if not for assessing their limits and what they value? I find this to be rather interesting because it reminds me of conversations that I've been having lately with my Aquarius friend. So basically what's been happening with me lately is that friends have been coming back into my life. And what I've had to do is come to terms with what it is I value in these relationships. The same things when it comes to my romantic relationships. Within the past year, so many lessons have been presented to me. And again, I've had to assess what it is I value. And I think that that is the mighty power. One of the biggest lessons we can learn from Taurus, from Venus, and from the second house. It's what we value. Because if we are unclear as to what we value, then how are we going to attract the types of people and events and items and experiences into our lives that we really enjoy and we appreciate? I think this is why Taurus must come after Aries and before Leo in the zodiac. Because, right, if Aries is the self and Leo is how we shine and express ourselves, this sort of self-actualization, well, we kind of need Taurus to come in and ask us, what is it you value about yourself in order to shine and express yourself? And it's due to the appreciation of these things that we can go on to thrive. It just sort of shifts from what we value to what we love. So ultimately, it's this earth energy, which is necessary to help us develop our value system, because earth shows us our boundaries, our limits. Now, due to these things happening in a past life, North Node in Taurus, in this life, when you merge too closely or quickly with another person, what can happen is that you experience betrayal as a warning that you should keep your own boundaries, values, and spiritual ethics. And this is all essentially why it's so important for you to establish what it is you value, what your boundaries are. And you also need to assume financial responsibility for yourself so that you can regain your self-confidence in this life as well. Because when you're not conscious of how much money you spend, you can land yourself into some rather serious debt. And the reason for why I say this is because your dependency in a past life meant that you were unable to earn your own way with your own talents. In fact, what might have actually happened during your childhood in this life is your parent might have been imposing their values onto you. Now, naturally, of course, this is relatively normal for parents to do this. Most children, even though as they grow older, right? Yes, it's quite normal for parents to do this, but most children, when they do grow older, they begin to discount these values and then they develop their own set of values. But for you, it seems that you absorbed your parents' values like a sponge. And this is because you are used to being bounded with another. Therefore, you can't see that you are in fact separate from your parents. Therefore, coming to terms and facing these subconscious tendencies is crucial for you in this life. Another thing is that in a past life, you might have been a psychologist or a psychiatrist where you wanted to understand other people's needs so that you could predict what was going to happen with them. Perhaps you were around people who you felt were in need of healing. You would then sort of uncover any emotional or mental dysfunctions that they had. Perhaps you used your sensitivity for psychic purposes. Maybe you could listen to all the words that other people were not saying and be able to predict what they meant. And what you might actually do now is you might meddle into another person's business. And this is because you feel free to get involved, to get all up in other people's grills. You know what I mean? However, you are simply shocked when other people get involved in your affairs. You might sit there just speculating on the subconscious motives of the other as you form all sorts of conclusions. But if you find out that the other person is not doing what you concluded, you're like, why are you not doing what I predicted? What's actually happening here is that you're projecting all of your own values onto others and then judging them when they do not measure up. Another thing, North Node in Taurus, is that you might have spent a previous life where there were power struggles going on between you and others, which resulted in you attracting trauma and crises. Crisis? Crises. Crisis. In fact, you might be addicted to the feeling that comes from a crisis. What you might do is you might completely disregard your body and your overall state of well-being due to your risk-taking. And it's these destructive tendencies that can have a grasp of your life, causing you to create a crisis in your everyday life. You are so passionate that you can drive yourself towards experiencing intense emotional outbursts. So, one of your challenges in this lifetime is to take charge of this intense passion and redirect it constructively. It's about building rather than destroying in this lifetime. See, what you really want, North Node in Taurus, is to merge with someone else's energy and feel a mutual empowerment. You are looking for this permanent commitment with another person. You want a partner who you can count on to take care of all of your material needs in exchange for you taking care of their emotional needs. But in order to achieve such a union, you must find someone with similar values where your shared goals with another person are valuable to you both separately. But you need to be aware of the seeking of the self-worth through others, because with this attitude, you will possibly go your whole life searching for this soulmate, thinking you'll be complete once you find this person. But what you must understand is that it's about you achieving the completeness within yourself. Therefore, North Node in Taurus, in this life, it's about leaving behind tendencies of being judgmental, being impatient, being overly concerned with other people's business, being preoccupied with the psychological motivations of others, and displaying acts of inappropriate intensity. And so with all of this information in mind, where are you headed in this life as we explain your North Node in Taurus, and also what are some steps that you can put in place for yourself in order to head in this direction? The first step, North Node in Taurus, is to experience your own self-worth. You are learning to build a sense of self-esteem directly by you living according to your own value system. You need to empower others only when it is what they want you to do. No forcing it onto others, no imposing it onto others, North Node in Taurus. And if you can learn to do this, it will fit with your values. Meaning that you're not going to expect anything in return. You're not going to feel like you're continuously giving in exchange for all of this energy that once provided doesn't feel like enough anyway. It's about you establishing ways of feeding yourself with energy so that you can be more self-contained. And by doing so, you can interact with others because you want to, not because you feel you need to. Something that you can perhaps put in place for yourself is to set up some type of plan where you perform things that make you feel good. You know, really getting in touch with the five senses, North Node in Taurus, right? So, getting in touch with your body. You know, I'm pretty sure that the Aries moon girl, her North Node is in Taurus. And what's interesting is that she is a yoga instructor now, I think. I'm pretty sure, I think she is. By the way, hi to you, Anna, if you're watching this, and if you've not heard or seen Aries Moon Girl, her channel, I'm gonna put a link to her channel. Definitely go check out her videos, they're awesome. But yeah, she is definitely a prime example of someone who really is owning her North Node in Taurus energy. She's really living it out in her life. So yes, North Node in Taurus, getting in touch with your body, with the earthly realm. Perhaps you could even set aside some time to prepare your meals each day, or if you want to do it weekly. What I personally do is I make 3 days of meals on a Sunday, and then I'm set for that time. I'll make pinto beans with Spanish rice and avocado and hot sauce, and that's my lunch and dinner for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a pretty damn delicious meal though, North Node and Taurus. I definitely recommend it. Bit of spring onion and garlic, good to go. Another thing you could do is try setting aside some time to move your body, to exercise. Now, it doesn't have to be anything intense or heavy. It's simply about you performing regular activities that nurture and help you feel good about yourself. After all, it's these things that create our value system. Another thing is that you are learning to express what you need and to avoid thinking about other people's needs first. Really ask yourself then, okay, what do I need? And then also question your reasons. See, Earth is an element that's all about reason and purpose, because Earth wants to know how useful something is, what it can provide them with. And this too I find quite interesting, because the very fact that we are on this earthly plane right now, all of us, so many of us question the reason, don't we? We want to know what our existence can provide to this planet. So whilst Taurus is the reason, it's kind of like Gemini comes after Taurus and is questioning the reason, maybe? It's just a thought, just a quick thought. Naturally, of course, it is about you getting in touch with your level of comfort and establishing your boundaries. And if you have set a certain goal, or a certain couple of goals, set of goals for yourself, you must assess whether these goals feel right to you. So it's about taking the time, North Node and Taurus, and being patient with yourself. Moving towards your goals at a pace that is right for you. The more you feel grounded within your value, the more at peace you will feel. You will no longer be judgmental when you see qualities in others that you're not overly fond of. This is because you will know who you are and what you stand for. Overall, North Node in Taurus, in this life, you must get in touch with your own value. You must establish a strength within yourself and become aware of what it is you want. And you can do this by tuning in to what is meaningful in your world. And as your energy grows stronger in who you are separately, you will in turn attract a partner who vibrates at a similar frequency, in which you form successful relationships. Ultimately, you are learning to become aware of your boundaries, to honor the needs of yourself and others, and to develop qualities of patience, loyalty, gratitude, and forgiveness. Okay guys, so that concludes my video on the North Node within the sign of Taurus. If you do happen to have your North Node in Taurus, I would like to know what house it's in, so yeah, add that in the comment section. I hope you're able to find this video to be somewhat beneficial and helpful. And that's me. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing as always. And yeah, if you would like to see more videos from myself, then make sure you click that subscribe button. And I will be back then with another video, with the final North Node video very, very soon. Bye!